Good afternoon, everyone. We are Group 4 and we are here to present to you the introduction of Module 3. And here is Joven Evangelista to explain to you what is petrology.
Petrology. First, petrology is the branch of geology which focuses on the study of rocks and the condition by which they form. The word petrology comes from the Greek word petros means rocks and logos which means study. Petrology has three subdivisions. First is the igneous. This igneous petrology is the study of igneous rocks, those that are formed from magma. As a branch of geology, igneous petrology is closely related to volcanology, tectonophysics, and petrology in general. The next one is metamorphic petrology. This covers the chemical and physical work done in the natural system in response to changing physical conditions. Petrogenic process such as recrystallization, continuous and discontinuous reactions, mixed volatile reactions and deformations are addressed. And lastly, the sedimentary petrology. It is the study of the occurrence, composition, texture, and the other overall characteristics, while sedimentology emphasizes the processes by which sediments are transported and deposited. And next is petrology has disciplines. This includes the experimental petrology and petrography. When we say experimental petrology, it involves the laboratory synthesis of rocks for the purpose of ascertaining the physical and chemical conditions under which rock formation occurs. And then the petrography is primarily concerned with the systematic classifications and precise description of rocks. It is also the study of rocks in thin section by which means of a petrographic microscope.
Next is the branches of petrology. As what Joven earlier, that igneous petrology is focuses on composition and texture of igneous rocks, which means igneous rocks is the rocks such as granite or basalt which have crystallized from molten rock or magma. Next is sedimentary metrology focuses on the composition and texture of sedimentary rocks, which means that rocks such as sandstone, shale, or limestone, which consists of pieces or particles derived from other rocks, or biological or chemical deposits, and are usually bound together in a matrix of finer material. Next, last one is metamorphic petrology. It focuses on the composition and texture of metamorphic rocks. Rocks such as slate, marble, gneiss, or schist, which started as sedimentary or igneous rocks but which have undergone chemical or mineralogical or textural changes due to extremes of pressure, temperature, or both. Next,
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Nika. So, the mineral commodities on which modern civilization is heavily dependent are obtained from the Earth's crust and have a prominent place in the study and practice of geology. In petroleum geology, for example, a common goal is to guide oil well drilling programs so that the most profitable prospects are drilled and those that are likely to be of marginal economic value or barren are avoided. A similar philosophy influences the other branches of geology. In this sense, geology can be considered as an aspect of business that is devoted to decision making. Many deposits of economic interest, particularly those of metallic ores, are of extreme scientific interest in themselves. However, and they have warranted intensive study that have been somewhat apart from economic considerations. For example, coal and oil and natural gas rather. The Industrial Revolution of the late 18th and 19th centuries was fueled by coal, though it has been supplanted by oil and natural gas as the primary source of energy in most modern industrial nation. Coal nonetheless remains as an important fuel. During the last half of the 20th century, the consumption of petroleum products increases sharply. Crude oil and natural gas in commercial quantities are generally found in sedimentary rocks, along rifted continental margins, and in intracontinental basins. Such environments exhibits the particular combination of geologic condition and rock types and structures conductive to the formation and accumulation of liquid and gaseous hydrocarbons. Another alternate energy resource is the heat from Earth's interior. The surface expression of this energy is manifested in volcanoes, steam geysers, hot springs, and boiling mud pots. Global heat flow maps and constructed from geophysical data shown that the zone of highest heat flow occur along the active plate boundaries. There is, in effect, a close association between geothermal energy resources and volcanically active regions. Ayan.
Next is rocks. We all know that petrology is the study of rocks, so we have to know the what is rocks. So it says there that rocks is a combination of minerals formed from an aggregation of one or more minerals and other substances. It is also any naturally occurring solid mass or aggregate of minerals or mineraloid waters. Next slide.
So let's talk about the classification of rocks. First is the igneous rocks. Igneous rocks are formed from solidification of molten rock material called magma. Second is sedimentary rocks. These rocks are types of rocks that are formed by accumulation or deposition of mineral or organic particles at the Earth's surface, followed by cementation. Third is metamorphic rock, arise from the transformation of existing rock to new types of rocks in process called metamorphism. These three classes, in turn, are subdivided into numerous groups and types of the basis of various factors, the most important of which are chemical, mineralogical, and textural attributes. There are five differences among types of rocks. First one is mineral content, second is compositions, third is texture, four sizes, and the last one is colors. Next.
Rock cycle. This is the process in which rocks are continuously transformed between the three rock types, igneous, sedimentary, and metamorphic. This is where it continuously transforms between three rock types. Next slide. Process of rock cycle. Process of rock cycle. Weathering is breaking down rocks. Weathering is breaking down the rocks or minerals where it changes the temperature. Transportation is the process where it moves the material by the stream or river.
Parang tam tam.
Erosion is is where the rock breaks down, which will turn into dust. Deposition, the process where it builds or creates landforms, in which it only happens when the sediments are no longer stronger, such as pebbles or sand, which is dissolved by water. Next slide. Compaction and cementation is the process where compaction is where the sediments and rocks are squeezed together, and cementation is when fluids in cement are the one who binds them to make sediments or rocks. Rock melting is the process where the rock melts in which it became magma, where the temperature is 600 and 1300 degrees Celsius to melt a rock. Crystallization. Crystallization is a process where rocks melted, cool down, in which it will form crystals. Metamorphism is the process where the rock changes due to its heat and pressure, where its appearance would change completely.
And that's it. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you for listening to our report. I hope you learned something new and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.